about that. And first thing I want to say is, I mean, it's been a rough week, right? I mean, we all know that. I mean, even the AI has had a pretty rough week. So coming here to Token Metrics. So for example, let me pull up the screen. So let's go to the monthly, right? So first of all, the major changes we made, we've had all the indices begin at the same, at roughly the same time frame to make everything easier. So we've essentially kind of reset everything, right? So that's why the ROI numbers are now totally different. Because before we had the indices, we had some indices where everything began in April. However, the issue was back then we just had the initial price of the index and we weren't tracking the daily price. So as a result, we weren't able to graph it. So when people came here and went to show the chart annually, basically for the entire year, everything was kind of hard to plot, right? So as a result, we've basically thrown away pretty much, I would say, a few months worth of data and kind of made everything begin at June to make everything kind of easier to graph. So everything begins at 0, right? So this is the monthly price prediction index. So this is how it's performing so far since June 25th. Now, as I mentioned earlier in the stream, we did make an update. So the update we made, which now kind of going back, I am basically kicking myself for this, right? So this takes the price prediction accuracy, but in the past, or I would say for last month, we had it basically more strict, where it would only add cryptocurrencies in the index for price prediction that had an accuracy average over 80% for the last 3 months. So last month it was good because it was kind of very conservative, trying to hedge. And then it had the same thing this month, but people kind of said it was too conservative because it had too many stablecoins, and we took off that filter. And now looking back, obviously hindsight is 2020, but that was probably the wrong move because it ended up getting more altcoins, adding more risk to the index, and as a result, not performing as well. But this month we do expect to have new updates in terms of how the indices allocate. So we are working on some new models, and the allocation models will be different because right now everything is basically allocated based on the grade, right? So based on the grade, but we now plan to have a totally different model. We have some quants on the team from Columbia University that have been helping us really innovate and take the indices to the next level. So we're hoping to launch that sometime this month, hopefully maybe even as early as next week, because we know right now we are in a stressful time with the recent correction. But the best performing index thus far is still the price prediction, but the weekly. So if we go to the weekly price prediction, so last update was September 1st. Next update is September 8th. So going here, I mean, this is still doing pretty well, right? So it also did have a pullback as well, right? But it's not doing too bad compared to like Bitcoin and everything else. But I would say the index that fared pretty well was the daily. I know this week it did have half of its coins in stable coins, but now it's basically bought back in. So this is basically for day traders. So this is the day trading index basically. Now going through here, it's basically picked some coins that are bouncing back, such as Arweave, Aave, and Waves, and Algorand. So that's nice. But in general, one thing I do want to hit home is the indices are meant to be a guide, right? They're meant to help you build an allocated portfolio. But they're also not meant for day trading, right? If you're picking the value investor indices, those aren't really meant for day trading, right? So if you have that index, it is not, I would not recommend, obviously not financial advice, but I would not recommend trying to day trade it, because that defeats the entire purpose of an index. The entire purpose of an index is to automate basically when you buy, and to really remove the emotions from trying to time the market and trying to trade the market, right? So for example, if we pick the annual value investor index, so let me update this here real quick, right? So this is the annual, right? So even this, I mean, so pretty much everything. So if you're in Bitcoin, that's fine. But in general, most of the money is made by staying in the market, right? So unless you're a professional, if you're a newbie, trying to time the market is very, very complicated, right? Because looking at this overall, you're still doing pretty well, right? Especially if you got in and you had some OMG network, right? And some Cosmos and some Neo and Ethereum, you're still doing pretty well, right? So if you're going for the annual investor index, the entire premise is to only invest once a year, right? If you want to invest more, then maybe quarterly, right? But what I'm seeing, I've been getting lots of questions about people getting into the monthly price prediction index, for example, and then trying to day trade it, trying to get in and out. And I think that's the wrong approach, because what if you're wrong, right? And chances are you will be wrong, right? Because it's very hard to time the market. Because if you get into the monthly index and then you start to day trade it, what if you're on the sidelines and it pumps 50%, right? Because all of crypto pumped 50%, right? And you miss that up move, and that can really be self-defeating, right? So I would say pick whatever time horizon you're comfortable with and stick to it, whether it's weekly, monthly. If you want to day trade, then yes, then maybe switch to daily, but don't try to go back and forth, because that becomes self-defeating, because not only can you miss time and miss the upswings, you also are paying in capital gains taxes and in transaction fees, right? So you have chances to lose three ways. So I would definitely not advise doing that. Bill, welcome back.
Thank you. Yes, I got hit by lightning. Yes, we're back.
Okay. All right. That's good. Well, it's good that you're back, but not with the lightning. All right. So, well, any comments on people trying to trade the indices as opposed to kind of picking a particular time horizon and just kind of sticking to it? Your comments on that?
Sure. So with indexes, as Ian said, they're meant for people who want to make some small adjustments every once in a while. Okay. Now, what are other ways to have an index and have some fun trading? So if there are 10 coins in an index and you want to do something where you pull one of them out and say, insert something you want to hold for 2 or 3 days, and then maybe take the profit or loss and then put that other coin back, that's a form of active portfolio management. I definitely wouldn't be day trading all 10 coins. Okay. So, if you had Bitcoin in your portfolio and you wanted to take a shot at a hotter altcoin, great, or vice versa. Maybe you wanted to pull out an altcoin and say, you know what, I'm going to pull this out and I'm going to put in a little more Bitcoin or a stable coin. So there's a way to be active with an index. Okay. Now, I also think this is a little bit of freestyle. I also think that indices can be used for research purposes. For example, particularly the longer term ones. So here I am, I'm sitting down with a blank canvas and there's people in the premium trading group and they need help. So the first thing I said is like, okay, what am I going to do? What am I going to look at? What are the buys in this market? The first thing I did was I checked quarterly and annual token metrics indexes for both balanced and technology. I wanted to see what we liked long-term that I could maybe either invest in now or possibly scoop up and sell in a month. So yes, if you were looking to get involved, it's great to just grab an index and sit with it. Choice 2 is you can manage a piece of it. Choice 3 is you can use it almost like a research tool. Like when the whole thing is going down, it's really hard to think of, gee, what are the best coins based on technology? And how can I get a list of 10 of them quick? That's one way to use our site.
All right. Yeah. Thank you, Bill. Okay. And somebody has a question. What are you buying right now? Well, actually, I didn't buy anything right now, but I also did buy some coins in the index, and I also did get wrecked. Right. So, we definitely do eat our own dog food. But for me, I'm still hodling for now. So I ended up buying reserve rights as a trade and also synthetics as a trade. Those two were based on I believe the weekly price prediction, and one was in the TA index. So I basically took profits on Chainlink as a trade because, as mentioned, that was part of the monthly price prediction index. So once that sold, I also took my profits and put those into reserve rights and synthetics. But yeah, I mean, it's been pretty rough. But hey, we're here. As you guys know, I'm not really a trader. I'm just kind of more, at least with me, my plan is just to follow the indices. And now I'm not following everything verbatim, right? I'm basically kind of picking the coins. So for me, I pick coins that are ERC20 tokens, right? So if it's not on a DEX, then I basically don't want to touch it, right? So out of the indices, so actually here, I'll just pull it up on my screen, right? So basically, my strategy is Uniswap or nothing, basically, right? So I came here, I went to, I believe, monthly price prediction. Let me just take a quick look. And I look for what can I buy, right? Either on one exchange, right? So basically the only ones available that were liquid with the size I wanted to buy in was reserve rights, right? All these others, either they weren't ERC20 tokens or they weren't liquid, right? So I ended up getting this. Then I think the other one was technical analysis monthly, I believe. Synthetics, right? And I already had ETH. So that's kind of how I use the indices right now. I'm just kind of done with centralized exchanges for the time being. I mean, I think that's why DeFi has been taking off. So I've just been buying what I can just buy with MetaMask and a DEX, right? That's liquid with the allocation I want to buy, right? So that's kind of been my strategy. And now, obviously, everyone has different ways of investing or trading. Do what works best for you, right? Because I'm very busy. I don't have the time to go on to 10 exchanges to do 10 different trades. That's why I don't trade much. However, if I do want a piece of the pie, a piece of the index that's easily available on a DEX, then to me that's a lot easier to do, right? So that's kind of how I've been using the indices. All right, so tell me down in the comments below what coin you ended up buying this week during the correction.